This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I've managed to drag Nigel Travis in front of the camera. Nigel, how are you doing?
Living the dream every day of my life. It's all good. Life's good. Very, very good.
It's good to hear. Now, let's start off with your little adventure out to Kazakhstan this past weekend. Turns big Kulakhmet with another victory, stoppage one at that. Just kind of reflect on his performance for me. How impressed and happy were you with him?
Yeah, I was very, very impressed. The opponent was selected, or there was a few opponents selected who didn't take it, who didn't accept it, and then this one accepted it. It was a Russian with 19 wins and 14 losses. Only ever been stopped once in the 10th round, so you knew you were going to get rounds from him, or he was expected to get rounds from him. And so in his preparation he's been working very, very hard, and the stuff he's been working on, if he'd have blown him away in a round, which at first it looked like he was going to, because he put him over in the first round quite heavily, it would have been, no benefit to that. And I told him such. And the people in Kazakhstan were all very keen for him to knock him out, and seemed a bit disappointed, but I was overjoyed and spoke to Jamie about him before we went, and obviously we wanted him to get rounds, and that will stand him in good stead for some massive fights in the future, because we know for a fact that the kids that he hits at world title level, the likes of Castano or Charlo, they're going to be there right to the end. So he needs to be prepared for it. So the worst thing you could do is find out on fight night that you haven't got 10 rounds in you. So you need to prepare properly, and that was why that fight was perfect for his development. So yeah, very, very impressed.
Jamie said the plan is to try and get him to world level within 7 fights. Do you echo that? Do you feel he'd be ready within 7 or 8 fights?
Most definitely. I don't see many people causing him any problems at all. I really believe that. And he's only been with us for two camps, and we think he's improved already, and he certainly does. And his family and the people in Kazakhstan seem to see the development in him in those 2 camps. So they're 2 7-week camps that he's been with us. Living, immersed in with us completely, and he's just developing at a fantastic rate. And his English, that's a big thing that we're trying to get with him. And so for somebody who can't speak fantastic English myself, to be teaching a Kazakh kid who's absolutely no idea, is difficult. But he's getting it, and he seems to understand what we're saying, and knows every swear word in Salford. But no, I expect him to be fighting definitely within the next 3 fights for a world title, and he's with MTK, who are suitably placed to push him and make things happen. So he's very, very blessed, and we feel blessed to have him in our gym. But yeah, I think he'll be fighting for a world title, and I expect him to win. I really, really do.
Those world titles will be tied up by one man come this weekend, Charlo Castano, as you mentioned earlier on. Just get your thoughts on that.
I think Charlo wins, and in my mind, that's what we're looking at. So, but again, people unifying, people are unifying it and then going up quite quickly. I think that's something that may happen. So it will be unified. I believe Charlo will win, and it may become more fragmented, because you may go up to middleweight to fight middleweight. That's what seems to happen. Is that you or me?
That's you. It's not me.
Yeah. So. But we expect. I think, I say expect. I'd back Charlo to win, and then he may won a couple of defences, same as the Josh Taylor. The example. That's what Josh wants to. Josh wants to a homecoming fight, and so I expect Charlo to maybe hang around for a fight or two, and then vacate to go up to middleweight to fight for another world title. But Tursun Bacon can challenge for any of those honours. I really do believe that.
Somehow the one man I thought to mention too, Jamie, was Jack Catterall. What is the latest with regards to the Josh Taylor undisputed fight for himself?
It's happening as far as we're concerned. We expected before the end of the year to be fighting in Scotland. We thought it would be the summer, but Josh has got a bit of a problem with his hand, and so he's going to rest that, get get rested, relaxed and ready, and then we're looking at maybe October, November for Jack to fight up in Scotland. Jack, we believe that Josh wanted to do it outdoor, Edinburgh Castle, which would have been a fantastic event. England versus Scotland, the old enemy and all that stuff, and it would have been fantastic. But it could still be made, I'm sure, it can be made internally at one of the arenas up in Scotland. And Josh deserves a homecoming. I'll be the first to agree, and it'll be against Jack. And we think it's a phenomenal fight, and Jack's working now. Jack's been working for the past 2 years of being mandatory. He's been in the gym daily, so there's nobody deserves this shot more than Jack. And he's obviously mandatory for a reason. He's been mandatory for 2 years nearly, and it's just he's been in the gym daily, learning, improving, and I think he'll rise to the challenge. Just they all know as big of the challenge is going to be with Josh Taylor, because he is out and out the best fighter in his way at that in the world by far. And so to box to be the best, you've got to box the best, and that's where Jack wants to be, and he deserves it. So next fight will be up in Scotland to rip away that title.
Moving forwards again, Chantal Cameron walking around behind me. What is the latest with her, Nigel? I know Mary McGee was the name that was mentioned after her last bout out in Vegas.
Yeah, she boxed. So she boxed to win. She was the mandatory to win the title. She won the title, and then there was another mandatory installed immediately after her. So, which seemed a little bit unfair. And in all fairness, I only ever saw one winner before the fight was made, and Andi's was a lightweight or a super featherweight, a lightweight, and then she went up to light welterweight. So it was stopped. It was a magnificent performance. The stoppage wasn't the best. The referee didn't, cover himself in honours, because she, if he'd have stopped it any time before that, when she was the barrage of shots that she was taking, and she was taking some big shots, so it was, for her health, the referee had seen enough. But she was having her best round, to be fair, when she actually got stopped. But there was only ever one winner, I thought, and you'll see the very best of Chantal Cameron when she fights the best kids in the world. And obviously the dream fight for her is to become undisputed champion. She's looking at Mary McGee next. And then clear up the rest of the light welterweight division, and then look at Katie Taylor for all the belts. That will be the cherry on the cake, and that'll be the biggest fight in women's boxing history, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's what we're aiming for. And I only see one winner, and that's Chantal Cameron.
Akib's waiting for an announcement for an opponent for one of the fight camp shows. Have you got anything kind of in mind for that?
Yeah, Akib's been matched tough all the way through his career. And we made no mistake of that. When people were fighting, half decent journeymen. Ben Fields, who's a very, very tough kid, and he's a bit of a record wrecker. He breaks records and gets those O's of kids who are relatively inexperienced. But yeah, Akib's, he will be matched accordingly, and again we think that Akib can do big things in it, and we believe he can be a little bit fast-tracked because of his ability. What he's been learning in the gym and how he's been performing, fantastic. Learning off Carl Frampton, when he was here, Jack Catterall, and you can see him trying to pull the things off that they used to do, or they do, and it's working. And he's just done 10 rounds yesterday with Jazza Dickens, and was phenomenal. And really, he looked, aged beyond his years. He genuinely looks experienced beyond his years. He really, is a cracking talent, and also a proper nice kid. So you want the kid to do well.
And just moving forwards, Fury Wilder 3 it was no longer happening because of a COVID outbreak within Tyson Fury's camp. Just to get your thoughts on the fallout from that fight, knowing that we won't be able to see that on July 24th now.
It's a shame. It's a shame for all them involved, but people want Fury, Joshua. That's what they want. So all these roads, all these disappointing. Really, it was disappointing when they announced Fury Joshua, and then for that to be ripped away in the courts. So listen, don't get me wrong, that could have been, a real, slippery slope for Tyson Fury. He could have took his eye off the ball because he's been messed around a bit. Obviously, he looks professional. He looks like he's in the gym working hard. He looks very good, and as did Wilder. But it is what it is. It's a business world, and it's very difficult. And I hope that someone can be slipped in at the last minute, like someone, Dylan White. He deserves a chance. Why not? It's the business element of it. This COVID is undoing a lot of stuff, and God willing, it's coming towards the end now. So, because I've just been to Kazakhstan and had to, be locked up over there, and you get locked up over here when you come back and all that. You're elite sports, so you can leave for the gym. It's just very, very difficult. So, hopefully, God willing, soon it'll be over, and then we can get back to normality and just have proper fights and not worry about COVID, because it's been the bane in the arse of the whole of boxing at the moment.
Just final one on Dillian White. He's had some exchanges with Charles Martin over social media. Would you be interested in seeing that one?
Not Charles Martin, no. I wouldn't. I think they're trying to talk it up. Listen, Dylan White, is like Jack Catterall's been managing for a long time, and then the banana skin of Povetkin, undid all that. So I think I'd like to see Dylan White against anybody because he can fight, and you want to see heavyweights fight. That's the marquee way that people think, but he's just the fact that people calling each other out. Twitter's a wonderful beast for for creating rivalries and stuff. But I'd stick if Dylan White, if he could be made, why not stick him in with Wilder? Let that happen. But Wilder, he could be. I genuinely believe that Dylan White could beat Wilder. I really do. And he's a Brit again. Get another Brit up there. So, but Charles Martin, no, I've got no interest in it at all.
Well, Nigel, we leave up there and I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate your time. Thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
God bless you.